Good morning, everybody. This is a short presentation that was taken from some work that Denise and I did, where we are taking some topic areas which we're calling in conversation. And our brand, as you can see, is crown, tiaras, and wizards hats. This is a summary of the three areas. We've based this on archetypal energies, which are those subconscious energies that we have. And crowns is all about ruling our kingdom. Tiaras is about all feeling good. It's the one I really like. And wizards hats is about the magic and the magic catalyst. So this brand is all about looking at how we support ourselves and others through change and how we make some of those transitions in our lives. Today, the element we're going to look at is the change house. Which, if you look at the overarching aspect, it is about ruling your kingdom. So this change house can be applied from any aspect of your life. It could be work, it could be home, it could be relationships. And what's interesting about the change house is that we can actually be in different rooms when we for each aspect actually of our lives. So this was originally developed by Nicola Phillips, and who wrote a book called Reality Hacking, and it was called Changing Rooms. And we've sort of taken it on from those elements. And as I said, you can use it for yourself, you can use it for your team, and you can also use it for organisations. Today, we're going to walk through it from a presentational perspective, but you can physically use this if you were a team and you wanted to really think about what was going on in each of the rooms. You could have 4 rooms that you went into and thought about what it was like to be in each of those rooms. Um, you can see the 4 headings around there. You can see also things like the Dungeon of Denial, which I'll talk about a bit more. One of our colleagues and friends, Ian Williams, helped us develop that even further. So we're going to take each of those rooms and think about what it might mean. So the first room is the contentment room, which might be challenging in some ways to think about when you were most contented. For those of us that have just been through the year of the pandemic, really thinking about when we were contented and how life was before that. But there are times in our life when we actually feel really contented and we are happy, we're enjoying it. Every area may feel in balance, but something may happen in one aspect. And if you think about the pandemic, actually so many areas of our life got impacted, whether you were working from home, whether you were having to homeschool, what happened to your exercise regime, what happened even to what relationships, seeing people, so much got changed. And the first room that we often go in is into the denial room. So I want you to have a think about somewhere where there's been some change, and initially you didn't really accept it. You were, oh, I'm not sure that's going to happen, or there's no change around here. Even nice things, we can have a moment of denial. We can be promoted and say, "Oh, are they promoting us?" And I think if we take the pandemic, I think I was in denial that actually how long we were going to be in lockdown for. I can remember talking to friends and saying, "Oh, we'll be out of it by June or August," and 1 year on, we're still just beginning to come out of initial lockdown. So we can often be in denial, and we find it quite challenging in that area to work out how we're going to deal with things. You can often see it in work where there's been a new process, and individuals are still carrying on with the old process rather than taking on the new process, in sort of in the hope that they won't have to make the change that they've got to change. The dungeon of denial is that element where um, you get in there and you really can't see how you're going to get out of it. And actually, people who can get in the dungeon of denial can feel quite low and depressed because they have a sense of overwhelm about how they're going to make any transition. But hopefully, most of us are able to move ourselves into the confusion room. Whenever Denise and I are working with individuals and say we want to get into the confusion room, they sort of look at us, but a bit sort of weirdly. But actually, it's really good to be in the confusion room. The confusion room is somewhere where you need to take stock. It's a good place to stop and say, how do I feel about something? How do I deal with a change? How do I find my way through? This is a time to find a really good buddy who can brainstorm those aspects that you want to make a change on and help you come up with solutions. Denise and I often talk about support boards. So find people who are on your support board that can give you some ideas and suggestions about how you can find your way through it. Many of us, I think, in the last year have needed to find our ways through home working, the aspect of being on Zoom all day, working out how we're going to get the boundaries to work, how we're going to fit the exercise patterns in, some of those sensory things that we missed. When you go to work and get on a train and get a coffee and meet people, we've had to find our ways through some of that. And certainly Denise and I have had many conversations around missing seeing people face to face, and what is it that we can do that will fill some of those energy buckets that we actually need. So we need new strategies. We need new ways of doing things. We also, this is a time when we really need to look after ourselves as well, because we are making shift and change. And although many of us really like change, it can still be emotionally quite stressful. And we can sometimes actually forget that. So keeping yourself in a good place with all the things that you and I know that we should do, that we don't always do, from exercising regularly, drinking lots of water, eating sensibly, relaxation, doing some meditation, and just generally having strategies that keep us feeling good. The next part that we move into, and I missed out the wrong direction door, that's where people really don't work out the best way of moving forward, and get stuck actually in confusion, actually don't work out how to get themselves out of renewal room. They are really confused, and sometimes that paralysis pit can get paralyzed, and there's like so much to do. They can get a bit of an overwhelm, and Denise and I would just say sometimes, just go and do something. If it doesn't work out, that's giving you feedback that it's not right, so go and do something else. Isn't it Edison, who it took him, I know, thousands of times to get the light bulb? It's a bit like that. Just try something new, and eventually you will find a solution to move forward. Where we want to get to is the renewal room, and the renewal room is where all of those new ideas that we've got get integrated, and we really work out what's the best way for us. So, if I think about home working, some people have gone for walks at the beginning of the day, some people take walks in the middle of the day. I often now like to have fresh flowers in my room, or to have candles in the room, to make sure there are breaks in between, so you can go and get yourself a coffee and a stretch break. Some people have moved into desks that are going up and down, all sorts of different ways that people are working on aspects, and that's the renewal room, when it begins to become part of your daily life and part of your normal habits. Because most habits, they say, take at least 21 times to change a habit, and I've read recently somewhere it can take even longer than that. So actually integrating it so that you really feel rejuvenated and move forward, and that you can then move yourself back into the contentment room. You'll see there's a couple of arrows on there, and that is because often people in the confusion room can go back to the denial room and swing backwards and forwards. And this is a continuing aspect. The other aspect to think about is that, as I said, each element of your world or your life could be in a different room. So how you feel about where you are with work, to how you feel about your exercise regime, to how you feel about relationships, to how you feel about contribution, may all be in different aspects. And I think when you're dealing with change, both for yourself and other people, the aspect to remember is that different people deal with change in different timelines, and some people can deal with things with much quicker than others. Um, we use this room or the house and the rooms quite a lot in terms of our program. We thought it'd be helpful to have a basic understanding of what the rooms are all about. We're really happy to answer any questions that you may have on it, and for you to think about how this is actually going to apply to you in your life. So look forward to seeing you again in one of our short videos, or in one of our conversations, or even from a coaching perspective. Thanks for your time today.